Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. What in the world could this mean, according to 1 Corinthians 13? Well, let's check it out. As we've been reading throughout this entire context, this love is very, very selfless. This love is very different from a lot of what culture may paint as a picture of love. Putting yourself first, it's all about you. You don't show it until it's first given. Those kinds of vibes, this is completely different. But in this context of love, not delighting in evil, but rejoicing with the truth, there are some smaller perspectives to consider, such as not rejoicing when others fall, not rejoicing when others fail, not rejoicing when others make mistakes. You know, kind of carrying the perspective of, oh, he's got what's coming to him, or, oh, I'm so glad to see that. When it comes to celebrating somebody's failures, mistakes, poor decisions that created poor results. And actually what love chooses to do in those moments is actually uplift that individual, not participating in the badgering and kicking down of that individual, but looking to potentially play a role in restoring that person in some way, shape, or form. So that's one perspective of what it looks like for love to not delight in evil, but rejoice with the truth. It also carries, I think, to me, the bigger perspective shown in this text, that love does not get behind systems of error. Love does not get behind messages, themes, pictures that celebrate the things that aren't aligned in God. Keep in mind what type of love we're talking about in this context. An agape love, the love of God, the love that's unconditional, the love that knows no bounds when it comes to his creation, when it comes to us, when it comes to having a relationship with God. And this same love has a standard, which actually is pretty set in stone in this very verse. So love already knows and is rooted in a place of truth, not feelings, not what we want selfishly, but truth, objective truth, and does not stand on the side of the things that are evil. In other words, if I truly love you, I'm not going to withhold truth from you. I'm going to express it. Now, it's not to say that once truth is expressed in any and all given scenarios, that it's going to be received happily. Doesn't mean that someone is going to respond once hearing the truth about something, no matter how devastating it is, with glee and with thanksgiving, because there are some things that are told that are truths that can be hurtful because it hurts our pride, it hurts our ego, it hurts our will and our want. It doesn't really gratify, satisfy, or align with what we want to do. So it causes hurt feelings. We're not really too appreciative of it in that moment. But it is something that we can get to a place of being thankful for, because now we know. So anytime we're left in the dark about something, anytime that we're buying into some huge, magnificent lie, anytime that we're walking in darkness, it's not only difficult to see what's in front of us, to see how things really are, but it's once we turn on that light, we don't want to turn it back off. And we'll grow into a space of thanksgiving over time, the more and more understanding we get behind the truth of what's in front of us. So even to be more blunt with it, love is not going to support any kind of message that gets behind an agenda of going against God, going against his standards, going against his principles, going against his character, going against his word, that being the Bible, biblical scripture. Love does not desire to withhold truth from you for the sake of loving you, thinking of you, not wanting to hurt you. Because truth is that love and genuine love, authentic love, love rooted in agape, in the love of God, actually gives us room and space to potentially be at risk of offending one another by way of telling one another the truth. It may not be something we want to hear, but it's something that's necessary to hear. And of course, as always, we want to be mindful of how we say it, when we say it, how much of it we say. We want to keep those things in context when conversing with others, connecting with others, building relationships with others, because it's not just about what you say, but it's about how you say it, when you say it, so on and so forth. But always keep in mind that truth has to be at the root of such conversations. So we can all acknowledge that truth can be offensive. Truth is actually, in many ways, supposed to offend you because it's going against what you may naturally want, natural thought, natural desire. But it's once you start grasping and settling in with truth, that then your heart begins to align with truth. And we know who truth ultimately is: Christ. And so we begin to embody his example. We begin to allow our lives to be transformed by truth, now then walking in truth, and now being the hands and feet of Jesus everywhere we go, moving in such a prolific love that isn't just about screaming truth, but also sharing it with grace and love, because Jesus walked and came in grace and truth. So when it comes to telling the truth, when it comes to expressing the truth with others, we do so in a graceful manner. We do so in a loving manner. We do so removing our pride, removing our selfishness out the picture, getting to the objectiveness of the matter at hand, understanding everything from its rightful perspective to then give a take on it. If we don't know, we probably shouldn't say anything. Those kinds of motives and notionings is how we ought to operate when moving in this prolific love. And at the end of the day, recognizing that love stands on the side of truth. Think about how many times you have maybe felt betrayed greatly by a friend who had been lying to you for an extensive period of time. Maybe it was a significant other, and then you found out the truth about how they really felt about you. You found out the truth about that scandal, that cheating. You found the truth about some kind of situation and scenario that you were left out in the dark. Remember the feelings that you might have had? Potentially stabbed in the back. You're wounded in some kind of capacity. And it's hurtful because that is somebody you loved, you cared for, you wanted things to work out, and it didn't. And not only that, but they did it behind your back. They weren't upfront with it. They weren't genuine with it, truthful with it. So not only is the outcome hurtful because it's not what you were hoping for, but the outcome is just as hurtful, if not greater, because they lied. Whereas if truth was told, if truth was expressed, it's not to say that you wouldn't have been hurt at all, or you wouldn't have been bothered at all. Rather, it would have actually saved a lot of extra grief added on top of it when somebody suggests to lie, selling a message, buying into a message that just isn't rooted in a place of truth, but rather rooted in places of emotion, feelings, own self-will, those kinds of pictures. So always keep in mind as you're moving forward and looking to love more like Christ, when we're honoring the message that Paul gives to us in 1 Corinthians 13, he gives us the blueprint to what love is and what love isn't, knowing that we have the capacity to move in this love with people around us, and that this doesn't become something that's culminated in a marriage only. Love stands for what's right and is against what's wrong. So now the question becomes, who sets the standard to determine right and wrong? Ultimately, we have our viewpoint: God, the Bible, the biblical narrative, scripture. And it's from there that we are given the confidence, the keys, the understanding to know how to navigate and respond with such a love towards others around us. And even though there are people around us who may not appreciate hearing the truth, may respond harshly to hearing truth claims and truthful things, having truth in hard conversations, even being truthful with yourself and where you might be right now. It is something that you will grow to appreciate over time, uncovering and peeling back all of those lies that you have been told, that you've told to yourself, and now being able to live in truth, knowing that this truth will ultimately lead you to the person of Jesus, for he is the way, the truth, and the life. It is ultimately love that delights in the understanding of truth, because now, knowing the truth about what's in front of you, where you are, where you're headed, where you're located, you're able to come away with some of the most peaceful understanding you could have in such moments of, now I know. Now I know the truth. Now I know the real deal. Now I know what's really going on. And now I'm able to take better steps in front of me, more wise steps in front of me, because now I know the truth, which is always something to celebrate. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to this video. If you want to learn more about the breakdowns of 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8, check out the playlist. We've got quite a few videos up as we're slowly coming up to the end of this series, looking at what love really is about biblically. Hit the subscribe button, share this with a friend, and cheers to building happy, healthy, whole, biblical relationships. Until our next conversation, be easy and be breezy, my friend. Peace.